The day Anna received the letter about her grandfather's house, she almost laughed, not because it was funny, but because life had already taken so much from her that one more strange surprise felt meaningless. The letter said only a few simple words: "Your grandfather left you the house on Birch Hill. The property is abandoned. You are now the legal owner." Anna stared at the paper for a long time, because the house on Birch Hill was something she remembered from childhood, a quiet wooden home surrounded by trees, a place where she once felt safe. But that was long ago, before people began treating her like she did not belong anywhere. Her grandfather had been the only person who truly believed in her, and when he died 3 years earlier, it felt like the last door in her life quietly closed. Now suddenly that door had opened again. The town where the house stood was small and forgotten, the kind of place where everyone knew each other's history and judged each other quietly. When Anna arrived there, people recognized her immediately. Whispers followed her through the narrow streets, because her family name had once meant something important. Her grandfather Ivan had been respected, a stubborn old man who built things with his hands and helped people without asking for anything back. But after his death things changed quickly. A powerful local businessman named Viktor Lebedev began buying land across the town. He was rich, confident, and used to getting everything he wanted. Soon he owned most of the properties around Birch Hill, except one, the small wooden house that now belonged to Anna. Victor had tried to buy it many times before her grandfather died, but the old man always refused. Nobody knew exactly why. When Anna first walked up the overgrown path toward the house, her heart felt heavy. The roof was damaged, windows broken, the door hanging slightly open as if the house itself had been waiting for someone to return. Inside it smelled like dust and old wood, but something about the place still felt familiar. She moved slowly through the rooms, touching the walls, remembering the warm laughter of her grandfather and the sound of his tools in the workshop. But the memories were painful too. After her parents died in an accident years earlier, some relatives had treated her like a burden. They mocked her quiet nature, said she would never succeed in life. Even in the town people sometimes spoke about her with pity or quiet judgment. She learned to stay silent, to carry her sadness alone. That silence became her strength. A few days after she arrived, Viktor Lebedev himself appeared at the house. He stepped out of a black car, wearing an expensive coat and a confident smile that never reached his eyes. "You must be Anna," he said calmly. "I knew your grandfather." She nodded politely but said nothing. Viktor looked around the property as if he already owned it. "This place is falling apart," he continued. "It would cost a fortune to repair. I'm willing to help you. Sell it to me, and you'll never have to worry again." Anna's voice was soft but steady. "My grandfather didn't want to sell." Viktor laughed lightly, as if speaking to a child. "Your grandfather was stubborn, but times change." She simply shook her head. That answer annoyed him more than anger would have. "You'll change your mind," he said before leaving. Over the next weeks strange things began happening. Contractors working nearby blocked the road leading to her house. Local officials delayed simple paperwork she needed to repair the property. Neighbors avoided speaking with her openly. Viktor Lebedev was not used to hearing no, and everyone in town knew it. Anna felt the pressure growing around her like a silent storm. Sometimes she wondered if it would be easier to give up. The house was old, broken, and repairing it alone seemed impossible. Yet something deep inside her refused to let go. She remembered her grandfather's quiet voice telling her once, "Some things are not valuable because of money, some things matter because they hold the truth of who we are." One evening while cleaning the kitchen she noticed a small wooden hatch hidden under an old rug. She had never seen it before as a child. Curious, she lifted it carefully. Beneath the hatch narrow wooden stairs led down into darkness. The basement. She hesitated for a moment before turning on a flashlight and stepping down slowly. The air was cold and smelled of earth and time. The basement was larger than she expected, filled with old shelves and dusty boxes. For several minutes she simply looked around, unsure what she was searching for. Then she noticed a small metal cabinet in the corner. It was locked. Her grandfather had always been a careful man, but something about this cabinet felt different. She searched the shelves until she found a tiny key taped under one of them. Her hands trembled slightly as she opened the cabinet door. Inside were several thick envelopes and an old notebook. When she opened the first envelope, her heart stopped for a moment. It contained documents, property maps, and contracts signed many years ago. Slowly the truth began to appear in front of her. Viktor Lebedev had not built his wealth honestly. The papers showed land deals where elderly residents were pressured or tricked into selling their homes for almost nothing. Some signatures looked suspicious, others clearly forged. Her grandfather had been collecting evidence for years. Anna turned the pages of the notebook. Each page described events, names, dates, and details of conversations. Her grandfather had written everything down carefully. At the final page there was a short message written in his familiar handwriting. If you are reading this, Anna, it means I am no longer here. I kept these records because someone had to protect the truth. Victor believes he owns this town, but truth has patience. If you choose to reveal it, do so wisely. When Anna finished reading, tears began sliding down her cheeks without her noticing. Not only because she missed her grandfather, but because she finally understood why he refused to sell the house. It was not just a home. It was the place where he hid the truth. For a long time she sat quietly on the basement floor, holding the notebook in her hands. Outside the wind moved through the trees on Birch Hill. She felt sadness first, the deep ache of loss and loneliness. Then helplessness, because she knew Victor was powerful and protected by many people. But slowly another feeling appeared, small and quiet. Hope. Her grandfather believed truth could wait. And so could she. The next weeks Anna remained silent. She continued repairing the house slowly. Viktor Lebedev grew impatient. He visited again, his tone colder now. You are making a mistake, he warned. Anna only nodded politely. Meanwhile she carefully copied the documents and contacted a journalist in the regional city who was known for investigating corruption. At first the journalist was skeptical, but when he saw the evidence his reaction changed completely. He asked for time. Months passed. Victor believed he was winning. Construction projects around Birch Hill continued, and many people assumed Anna would eventually surrender. But patience can be powerful when guided by truth. One morning the quiet town woke up to shocking news. The regional newspaper published a long investigation exposing Viktor Lebedev's illegal land deals. The article included copies of the documents found in the basement on Birch Hill. Authorities opened a formal investigation. Within days, Victor tried to deny everything, but the evidence was too clear. People who once feared him suddenly began speaking about their own experiences. The man who once seemed untouchable now looked smaller every day. When the police finally arrived at his office months later, many residents watched silently from the street. Anna did not celebrate. She simply stood near the window of her grandfather's house and watched the sunlight fall across the repaired wooden floor. Justice had come quietly, just as her grandfather believed it would. Not through anger or revenge, but through patience and truth. The abandoned house on Birch Hill slowly became a home again. And sometimes in the evening, when the wind moved softly through the trees, Anna felt as if her grandfather was still there, quietly proud, knowing that the truth he protected had finally been heard.